It's Saturday, March 28th. We're back in the hangar with a couple of quick newsworthy items. FAA medicals have been extended, like the pilots up in Canada. The FAA here in the United States has extended FAA medicals for 90 days. So if you have an FAA Class 1, 2, or 3 medical that is valid through March 31st of this year, your medical will now be valid all the way through to June 30th of this year, 2020. So you get a 3-month extension on your current medical, Class 1, Class 2, or Class 3. Here's what the EAA had to say about that. Given the urgent circumstances, the FAA implemented the policy by simply attesting that they were not going to bring enforcement action against any pilot or flight engineer with an expired medical certificate under the criteria specified during the 3-month period. So even when you go into a sim, they'll be checking your medical, but if your medical was good on March 31st and you're getting the sim before June 30th, you're good to go. Your medical, that's one of your things they always check whenever you get a check ride at the airlines. During the 3-month period, eligible medicals under this policy include those issued under special issuances. The suspension of enforcement does not apply to those who lack a valid medical, nor does it apply to those flying with a known medical deficiency. So it doesn't help me. I don't have a medical. I'm waiting to get mine reinstated. The policy does not address the comprehensive medical evaluation required on a 4-year basis for basic med. So breaking news from the FAA, your medicals are extended for 90 days. Other news, the American Airlines Early Retirement Program, voluntary permanent leave of absence, had a great turnout. Nearly 620 pilots at American Airlines volunteered to retire early. So this was offered for pilots 62 to 65. Remember, the mandatory retirement age at any airline is age 65. And at American Airlines, 620 pilots took them up on that offer. Some of them are Blanco Lirio viewers, and I'm already getting comments here on the Facebook feed on the Blanco Lirio Facebook channel that they're out of here. So congratulations. Those guys are going to be getting about 50 to 55 hours per month of pay all the way through to their normal retirement age. They have no obligation to the company. They can let their medicals expire. They don't have to worry about going out on a LTD, long-term disability like me. They can just enjoy their 50 or 55 hours of pay until their normal retirement age, and then they can start their normal retirement program at that time. So congratulations to you guys. That's a great program. There's 2 other leaves being implemented at American Airlines, a short-term and a a leave that doesn't include any pay, either a month-to-month or up to a year leave. The bidding for those leaves is open right now, so we got to wait and see how many folks take them up on the other various leave options at American Airlines. There's about 13 to 14,000 pilots total at American Airlines, so 620, that's a small amount. Will they open up this window again? I don't know. To all you young guys that are thinking the pilot shortage is over, well, this is a little glimmer of hope that we will be needing new pilots. It might take a little longer. There might be a little delay in the game, but we are going to continue to need new pilots in the pipeline. This might even create another hole in the pipeline. We don't know yet. It's way too early to tell. And of course, with the recent legislation approved, furloughs are mitigated until the end of September of this year. If your airline takes the loan money from the government, they are prevented from furloughing any employees until the end of September of this year. And then one other piece of interesting news, I spoke to a Air Force friend of mine that is deployed in South Korea. He's a U-2 pilot, and that's a common deployment for the U-2s. And the Air Force, the mission is continuing, despite the current economic situation and health situation. The mission is continuing, but the Air Force has a no travel policy in place right now. So folks that are out on deployment, guess what? You're stuck out there. Your TDY money, temporary duty money, is going to continue to grow for all those days that you're stuck out there until they lift this no travel policy with the Department of Defense. So the mission goes on. The folks that are deployed stay deployed. And the interesting thing about South Korea in particular is if you look at their numbers, their number of cases versus number of deaths, they've come out through this coronavirus thing with the best numbers of anybody so far. And speaking to my pilot friend over there in South Korea, we agreed that in South Korea you got a very compliant society. If you've ever been based over there, it's a homogeneous society and it's very compliant. If the government tells the South Koreans to do something, they get right with the program. And so they did a great job of social distancing and staying at home. Plus, South Korea itself is kind of isolated. You got an impenetrable border to the north, and then you're surrounded by water everywhere else. So those are some of the reasons why the numbers worked out so well for South Korea. So interesting to hear from the U-2 pilot over in Korea. The mission goes on, and of course military pilots are reevaluating their entire career as well. AFMPC has got to be happy that all of a sudden their pilot retainment problems are solved in the short term here. So I think military pilots should consider their career goals. If you want to stay in or get out, keeps one foot in the military one way or another to keep your medical benefits rolling. So that's it. Saturday, September 28th. Quick update. Thanks again for your support, and thanks again so much for the great support on Patreon to help keep this channel going, because we just can never tell with YouTube what you're going to get for ad revenue out of all of this work. So thanks again for your support on Patreon. See you here. Raining again. I got to get these airplanes. Annual 2.